Okay, we had a pretty good little episode this morning. We was going to try to talk to you guys and kind of walk through it play by play because Dennis didn't. He got his camera out, but he didn't video it. And a part of the reason I think he didn't video it is because we get so much crap on Facebook when we do put up a video of anything that's kind of a little bit extreme. That you kind of get, you kind of start worrying about what you can video or what you can't video or what you should do or not do or whatever. But basically, so we come right out of the camp, and I'm talking about 10 yards out of camp, and there's a river, the Gravant. Yeah, the Gravant River. And like I said, we're at Wyoming Country Outfitters there with Jimmy Weiser. And so we come out, and we've been in this creek. We've watered our horses in this creek and mules in the creek. It's a nice little trail, goes right into the creek. Nothing extreme and easy. It's literally where we water our mules at night. But there's great big boulders out in there, and the current's pretty swift and moves through there pretty good. And the river rocks are really slick, and they roll around. So you got to be cautious in any of that kind of stuff, obviously. And so we started going through there, and Jimmy was going first with his horse and his pack horse, and I was behind on Wisher, and then Shannon and Dennis were behind me. And so as we started to go down there and get into the water, as soon as we got in there, Wisher was kind of slipping around, and we weren't in there not even hardly halfway across there, about a third of the way, and her whole back end just went out from underneath her. I guess she hit a big boulder or something over there, and she sat down like a dog, So I sat still on her. I was trying to give her time to get her feet up underneath her, and when she tried to come up and kind of lunge out of it or something, when her front end kind of got on there, it slipped, and the current caught us, and we went down, and it got real western really fast. It's really early, like 6:30, 7 o'clock this morning. It literally snowed last night, so it's like freezing, like in the low 30s, and the water is not warm anytime, but it's damn sure cold. So you have to deal with hypothermia and the shock and that cold water just sucking it out of you, and then the current's washing us downstream. So we take off downstream, and she's kind of flipping through the rocks, and she's going down there, and I'm trying to keep my feet forward, but instead of panicking or whatever, I held her reins to try to keep her head up, and the current would take her completely underwater. She completely disappeared. I was trying to keep her nose up and stuff. She got a nose full of water, and we were really, thinking she was going to drown. And I would try to hold her head up, and it sucked me down. I'd go 10 or 20 yards downstream until I could get another, trying to drag my feet and stuff on the bottom, and then we'd wash out, and she'd come over the top of me, and feet were flying, and she was panicking, and she's a 16.3 mule, so she's fairly heavy. It's not like you can just pick it up and carry it to shore or something. So she wasn't doing anything right. She was in full panic mode, and then she quit, which made it even harder than that. She quit trying to get up, pretty much gave up, and she'd flop around every now and then, but she was not. It was really bad. So I kind of got to a stopping point for a minute, and they could see I needed help. So in the process, and a lot of this happened within like a minute, but a minute when your horse is underwater and you're underwater, it seems like an hour of thrashing and going on and going downstream. But so it took a minute or two for Jimmy to get his pack horse undone, get his pack horse handed off, get his rope out, and do everything that he needed to get done so that he could safely get out there again in these big boulders and rocks and kind of ride around and get downstream of us. And so as we come down there, try to make a couple attempts with the rope, but you can't really rope when the whole mule's underwater, because as soon as it hits the rope, it's just gone. So he had to throw the rope to me, and then we had to take the rope and make a big loop, and then run the reins through it, and then let the current take the rope down over the mule's neck. And then he had to try to pick his way with his horse as I kind of walked along best I could walk along and drag along, keep its nose out of the water, and then drag her over there to the shore where the water was shallow enough she could get her legs underneath her. And then we did get her up, but it was so cold it kind of put her into shock, and then she got some cuts. Her legs were banged up and bleeding, her back legs and her front leg. you know, I think she's going to be okay and everything. But she was, you know, even when she stood up, she couldn't hardly stand up even on shore. She was shaking her, it locked all her muscles up. It wasn't really doing mine any good either. It's not like a Rocky Mountain River massage is not really what you want to do at 6:30 in the morning. But anyway, luckily Jimmy was thinking clear, not panicking, being a professional guide, and was able to get out there and get downstream and get us that rope. And luckily his horse, which they're half draft horses that he uses, so luckily the horse was big enough to pull a 16-3 mule over to the bank and stuff on there and get that done. So pretty big ordeal, but some things to remember. I think the good things that come out of it. Now, my real cool black hat that I've had for years that I love, that's kind of my trademark hat, is gone. We're upset about that. Both my phones, despite the fact that they're being S5 and S4 actives, they did not survive the rocks and the river and the cold and the abuse. They appear to be shot, and so I don't have my I don't have my phones, so we're gonna have to do something about that. My hat's gone, my canteen's gone, my rope's gone, but the mule seems to be alive, and I'm all right. So that's the important things. The rest of it can be replaced, and it's definitely an adventure and stuff. Like I said, I wish we'd have got that on film for you guys, because I think there are some good lessons to learn. Definitely, if I'd 100%, and I think everybody here about you, 100%, if I'd have let those reins go, she'd be dead right now. She was completely underwater and completely give up, and absolutely was in shock and didn't care. So you gotta do that. The other things is, when you're going down a river like that, you got to get your feet forward and keep that in mind, because those rocks are coming up out of nowhere, and they'll hit you in the head, and then that's that. You know, you're done in a current like that. So trying to get your feet forward. You know, the only time that I had to reverse that, because you got to weigh your odds and stuff. But there was a time when she was coming over the top of me that I had to turn around and face her and get my feet on her chest and belly until I could kind of kick her around and get sideways again to get her over there. Because, you know, there's an odds that a rock will come up behind you, but when you got a mule coming up behind you kicking and stomping, then that kind of outweighs the odds of the rocks, and you just got to take those hits on your back until you get spun around. So, you know, that's the thing. But anything you guys want to talk or add to it? But like I said, for sure, no matter how good I did, I want to say that for sure, no matter how good I did keeping his nose out of the water, I wasn't getting that mule out of the water. Jimmy happened to come down there and roped it and drug it with his horse. Regardless of what I did, that would have been done. So that's another reason, if you're riding in this kind of country, everybody really needs to carry a rope. Whether you can rope or not, it's irrelevant. You got to have the rope. Even if you just hand it to somebody, you got to have that rope to drag stuff out and different things come. So, you know, if you go, well, I don't rope, but it don't matter. Without us having a rope, Whistler would definitely be dead. And again, if he'd have probably tried to even come behind us downstream, probably wouldn't have done him no good. You know, probably would have got drugged too. So again, knowing to come around, you know, get downstream and let us come into him made a big difference. So those are things, you know, you guys got to think about. Luckily, we all were thinking about that, and me and Jimmy got her out, and I believe she's going to be okay. But damn sure was cold. But I don't need a shower for a while. I'm definitely damn clean, and I am Mountain Spring fresh. That is for sure. That is for sure. And if they tell you an S5 active or an S4 active can take a Rocky River stream ride, it cannot. They will kill them. So, I guess that's it.